Hi guys, so I thought I would do a video today on how to be a full-time artist or what my top tips are for being able to make a living off of your art. So the first thing that you're wanting to do is, if you're starting a business, then it's really important to have your personal and your business page separate. And I feel like that's a really big issue for a lot of people, because oftentimes a fellow artist will follow me on Instagram and I'll go check out their Instagram and it's like their kids, their cats, their memes, picture of the mountains or whatever, and then some art. And you can't sell art like that. Like, there's nothing wrong with incorporating your personal life into your work page, because people honestly like that. They love knowing who's behind the screen and they love knowing who you are as a person, but it shouldn't be all of your personal life with a little bit of art sprinkled in there. So it's really important to make a business page specifically for your art. If you haven't already come up with a business name, then that is a good time to do that before you even make a Facebook or an Instagram or anything. Something simple, not necessarily short, but something simple and something that people will be able to remember. So after you have your business pages set up, you can actually switch to a business profile on Instagram and obviously on Facebook if you're making a Facebook page. I have tried Facebook groups before, but in my opinion, those aren't as good as Facebook pages, because one, people can post whatever they want in your group, as opposed to if you are an admin of a page, only you can post things. Two, it makes it really hard for people to navigate around your shop, and you pretty much just have to have like albums with available things, and it just makes it really hard for everyone, I feel like. So I would suggest using a business page on Facebook, and then you can go on Instagram and you can turn it into a business page. And this is really, really helpful because you can look at your analytics and which posts are doing the best, and you can see how many male to female people are following you, and that kind of, it helps you to see what you can improve. So once you've made all of your business pages, the next step would be to start posting them on some selling platforms, like making your own website or an Etsy or Saatchi or whatever. I personally use Etsy and I really like it. I will say that they just changed their algorithm, so only the postings with free shipping will show up first. So it doesn't mean that you have to shortchange yourself, just up your prices to how much shipping is to cover shipping. And I feel like I shouldn't have to say that, but some people really think like, oh, well then I'm gonna have to pay shipping out of my own pocket, and that's not the case. Just if shipping is $10 and your listing is $60, just bump it up to $70 with free shipping. There are so many different platforms to sell your art on. There's Etsy, of course, Fine Art America, there's Redbubble and Saatchi, which you can make prints and you can turn your art into pillowcases and things like that. And it's an extra way of advertising, because now Saatchi members will see your stuff and drive in more traffic. So there's just a lot of different platforms to sell your art on, so definitely do research and find some that works best for you. Don't go overboard with posting the same piece in all different places. I've had it happen to me before where people have bought a piece off of Fine Art America and then somebody else like went and bought it off of my Etsy at the same time, and yeah, it caused it caused a whole situation. So make sure that you're not posting all the same things on different platforms, because that's really hard to kind of juggle, I guess. Facebook recently has also allowed you to make a shop on your Facebook page. This is a great way to sell your art because it eliminates your client or your customer even having to go to your website or go to Etsy or go to wherever you're selling your art, that they can shop right there on Facebook. I haven't really had any problems with that so far. So far it's been pretty good, but again, make sure that you're not overly cross-posting your listings. Alright, secondly is knowing your pricing. So obviously, know your worth, know what you want to charge for it, but I think either people undersell themselves or they oversell themselves. So it's important to know your market, where you're at, especially if you're just starting to sell locally. If you're from California, then you won't have a problem selling a piece of jewelry or a small tile or a painting for like, you know, $20 for a necklace and $40 for a tile and $600 for a canvas. You're not going to have that problem because California has a more higher market, I guess. But if you're from like Kansas or Wisconsin or somewhere very small and rural, then you're not going to be able to sell your art locally for $600 or a necklace for $20. You might be able to sell it online for that, but you won't be able to sell it locally. So if you're just starting out, make sure that you're not underselling yourself and you're not overselling yourself. So this is the time that you will sit down and you'll figure out how much it costs you to make that piece of art, and then the time spent making it, and then a little extra so that you have profit. That's about where you want to be at. If you really want to do art full time, it's important that you actually make time to make art. Posting consistently on social media, it doesn't even have to be a new piece. You could do a throwback, or you could do a behind the scenes, or what your studio looks like. Just make sure that you're posting consistently. But you do need to make time for actually making art. You can't just not make art for a month and then wonder why you're not selling anything. You don't want to push your creative process, but just make it a habit to work on things, whether it's a little tiny piece, or it's a big project, or it's a commission piece, or packaging things, or just working on a certain technique. Just make sure that you're making time for your art. Alright, so now that we've gotten kind of the basics down and online selling, I'm going to briefly talk about some different ways that you can sell your art locally and get your name out. I had self-taught myself fluid and abstract art, and then 3 months later, my work went into a gallery. So I'm going to explain some different ways that you can put your art into some shops and galleries locally. I was able to get my art into a gallery so quickly because I took the initiative and because they were having a grand opening. So if there's a gallery opening in your area, make sure to go in person and talk to them. Bring examples of your work. You can do this on your phone, or you can bring canvases with you. But honestly, I have talked to a lot of galleries, probably 30 plus, and they all prefer digital, or bringing a binder and having it right there. But most of the time they will give you their business card and tell you to email them digital copies of your work with the price range and your business name and any social media links that you have. Baby galleries that are just starting out are the perfect place for an artist who is also starting out, because most of the time that they're looking for new artists, they don't have a lot of artists to begin with, but they're looking for new artists, and then you have that on your artist resume. So if in the future you choose to go to a different gallery, you can say, I was at this gallery, and it looks really good on your artist resume. They don't even have to necessarily be a new gallery. Those are just easier to get in. You can go and look at different galleries downtown where you live, or if there's any like smaller galleries. Or all galleries will have either a monthly fee or a consignment rate. So if you sell your painting for $200, they're probably going to take 30 to 50% of that. That doesn't mean that you're losing out on any money. It just means that you need to up your prices by 30, 40, 50%. You're not losing any money. Your paintings just get a little bit more expensive, which is okay because people go to galleries to buy expensive art. Alright, the next place to sell your art locally is small shops. So most of the time when you go downtown or anywhere in more smaller areas, you'll find a lot of shops that do consignment, and they have handmade items and local artists and local crafters and things like that, and that is the perfect place to put your art, especially for smaller pieces, or if you make jewelry. Like I make miniature jewelry out of my art. These are really great places. Most of the time they'll take 20 to 40% of your consignment, or if you can find them, this is even better, to sell them at a wholesale price. Alright, next is local coffee shops and restaurants. You would be surprised how many restaurants and coffee shops actually allow people to hang their art in there. I have actually sold the most art pieces in a local coffee shop. I made my first biggest sell, which was $500, and it was at a coffee shop. So you would be surprised how much you actually make in those places, but a lot of them will take a consignment fee of 20 to 40%, probably no more than 50%. If a coffee shop or a small shop asks for more than 50%, I wouldn't recommend doing it. In my opinion, it's not really worth it. Just make a day of walking around downtown or walking around a little place that has lots of restaurants and coffee shops and things like that. Just make a day of it and go into each shop and just ask them, do you allow artists to hang their art in here for consignment? Most of the time, they will either just say, oh no, we don't at this time. I've had a couple people say, well, we don't, but here's the owner's business card and you can ask her. And I've actually had really good luck with that. And other times they have artists for each month, and then you get to sign up for a month of your own. So it's a really cool process, and it's definitely worth just making a day out of it and just stopping by every coffee shop and restaurant that you see to see if they will allow. Being a full-time artist doesn't mean that everyone's just automatically going to want to buy your art. You do have to work for it, and you do have to take initiative, and I think that's the biggest thing, is just putting in the effort, taking the initiative, going in person to talk to places, because I have tried experimenting and seeing if I would get the same results emailing galleries and emailing small coffee shops and restaurants, and I only got a response maybe 5% of the time. It makes a huge difference when you go in person, so definitely make a day of it. It's worth it to just go in person and ask them. Coming back to social media now, you don't want to get too caught up in your followers, because some of the most successful artists that I know only have about 16,000 followers, which actually sounds like a lot, but it's not in comparison to some of the more popular artists. And the ones with a lower amount, they make the same amount as other artists with hundreds and thousands of followers. Do not get caught up in how many followers you have. And please don't buy followers. It's a waste of money. All of those accounts are fake, and it's just bad for business. It is really important, now that you are on social media, that you try to work on boosting your name on a Google search. If somebody by chance hears about your art and they want to look up Shelly's psychedelic art on Google, and you're just starting out, then she's probably gonna come up with some crazy trippy art pictures on Google Images instead of finding your art page. So you can boost your SEO by making a Pinterest, by making a Twitter, by making even a TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, any social platform, and this will continue to boost your name on Google, so that when people do type in Shelly's psychedelic art, they're not going to find a bunch of trippy mushroom pictures. They're going to find your art page or something linking back to you. But the awesome thing about Pinterest is that when you start posting your work on there, it acts as advertisement for you. Because when you type in anything that has that keyword, if you post a picture on Pinterest of your work and put in the words psychedelic art, then when you go Google psychedelic art, that picture from Pinterest is going to pop up in Google Images, and it's going to bring them right back to your page. It is completely free to use social media marketing, so take advantage of it, because that's really important. So the next thing is hashtags. I know some of the most beautiful artists, their work is amazing, but they don't get any recognition because they're not using hashtags. And for the longest time, people would make fun of hashtags and go, oh, hashtag boss babe, hashtag love my life, hashtag Jesus, or whatever. But that's not what hashtags were made for. You get more publicity by using hashtags to your advantages. They don't really work that well on Facebook, but on Instagram, they're amazing. And you will be surprised if you start using hashtags, you will start getting more followers. The important thing about hashtags is, say someone knows exactly what they want and they would like to look it up on Instagram. They're going to type in hashtag psychedelic art, and yours is going to pop up in that search. So it's kind of important to use hashtags because it is free marketing and it's kind of one of the biggest marketing things on Instagram. It doesn't really work that well with Facebook, but it's amazing on Instagram, even Twitter. Next is knowing how to present yourself. Know who you are as an artist. Stop trying to please everybody else. Create what you like creating, and that's the audience that you're going to attract. But you can't please everybody. You can't do 20 different styles of art and all kinds of different color schemes, and it's all completely different because you're trying to please everybody. So figure out how you want your viewers to see you as and what you would like to present to your audience. Now, if you're serious about becoming a full-time artist, I think it's really important to actually have business cards for yourself. I use business cards so much, I keep them in my wallet, and if there's even someone who I think would be interested in my art, then I'm like, oh, hey, here's my business card. I've made some of my biggest sales in a grocery store. I made a sale in the post office because I was shipping out packages. I made a sale in the library. Like, it just makes sure that you have business cards that you can give to people so that they can contact you for either commission pieces or for just items that you already have in stock. It makes you appear so much more professional than having nothing to show and just saying, oh yeah, I'm an artist on the side or whatever. It kind of, it makes you look more professional when you have a business card to show. Another way to sell locally is vending events. Now, I'm going to be very specific about vending events because usually I hate doing vending events, but they're actually pretty good money if you know how to set up your booth and you know how to market yourself. First things first, you could probably find some pretty cheap vending booths for about $20 to $60. That's the perfect amount to pay when you're just starting out, probably even under $50. There's so many options. But I will say, go to their Facebook event page and make sure that they have more than 50 people interested or going. So many times I see these directors looking for more vendors and more booths at their event, and there's only 7 people interested in the event, which means that when I pay $60 to go to that event, probably only 50 people are going to show up, and I'm not going to make my money back. The goal for vending events is to just make your money back. The rest of it is bonus. If you make more than your booth fee, then that's amazing, but don't worry about that. Just focus on paying your booth fee back. As a beginner, I wouldn't recommend paying more than $60 for your first booth. It's also important to set up your display in a very nice, neat, tidy way. I like to just use a black tablecloth, and then I have some stands for my paintings. If you're a beginner, then you definitely don't need to be investing in something like those huge wire racks that you hang your paintings on, because those are like $200 to $600. You're not even sure if you want to do vending events at this point, if you like them, if it's your style. So do not invest in anything crazy yet. If it turns out that you like doing vending events and you're good at them, then go ahead and invest in some things. But there's nothing wrong with a really simple display. Just make sure that your paintings are all there's a variety going on, and you have your business cards sitting out, and that you just say hi to everyone. That's about it. Nobody likes to be poked at and, well, how about this, how about this, how about that? Like, just let people shop and tell them if they have any questions, and they'll let you know. That's about it. So in conclusion, being a full-time artist in 2019, almost 2020, is so amazing. And yeah, it's hard. It can be hard, but it can also be really easy if you know how to market yourself. So again, the biggest things with being a full-time artist is effort and initiative. So if you're not putting in the effort and if you're not taking initiative, you're probably not going to get very far with your art. Being a full-time artist is so much more than just creating the art. If you want to just create the art, that's fine, but that's a hobby. And you're trying to make a living off of being an artist, and you're trying to go full-time and quit your day job to do what you absolutely love doing. But there's more than just making art. And you're never going to be able to be a full-time artist if you don't market yourself, if you don't do social media marketing, if you don't put in the effort, if you don't take initiative. Like, there's so many factors that go into being a full-time artist. So this is an amazing time to be a full-time artist because there's so many free ways to advertise yourself online and in real life and locally. So that's it. Those are my top tips for being a full-time artist. And yeah, so hopefully this video was helpful for you. If you would like to see more, then please hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video and it was helpful to you, then give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments and I'll answer them as best as I can. Thanks for watching.